everyone, this is Joanna and I hope that you can hear me okay. I'm trying to record this from my camera and I hope that it takes, because I normally do videos from my cell phone, which is this phone right here, and you usually only see the mid area because I have this phone propped up on my table. But for some videos, I feel like I should be face to face. So that's why I wanted my camera, but I still need some things, and I've said that a while ago. I have had this camera for a year now, and there's still a few things that I need. But today I would like to share with you a tag video. This is a Christmas question and answer collaboration tag. It is originated by Shawn of Hearth and Soul, and he did this in collaboration with Eclectic Kristen, and I'm looking at this. Also, it's a 20 question tag, and I'm going to be looking at his questions. I was tagged by Tina Marie, who he tagged, along with a few others. So I am going to try to answer these questions as best that I can. I truly hope this works out because I am still not adept at using this camera. You've already heard my story about how I had it in the box for most of the year that I've had it. So we're going to fix it so I can see something here. My reading glasses. The first question is, have you ever had a white Christmas? I live in Indiana. Yes, we have. We have the white Christmas before, after, and during. But it doesn't snow here a whole lot like it does in some states. But it does snow here. Well, I'm sorry. The first question is, when do you start your Christmas decorating? That has varied. It has varied depending on my children. With my daughter, there's 10 years between my children, as you've heard. It would always depend on whether or not they were in school. Because the one thing that I did with both of them was, while they were in school or daycare, that's when I would get everything ready. That's when I could get their gifts and just get some of the things ready that I was going to do while they weren't home, in addition to having things that they could participate in when they would come home. So this time, let me make sure I get this in the right order. The third question is, do you host Christmas Day, Eve, or New Year's? I've never done New Year's, not because I don't want to, I just never have. I have feelings about New Year's. That's a whole story in itself. I have hosted for my family as an adult maybe once or twice. For the most part, we had family that was extended that we would go to. But since I've been an adult, I've done it once or twice because it had to be when I was off. For my children, always. One of the things that I did when I was working weekends, if the holiday fell on a weekend, we would celebrate whatever weekday fell before I had to go to work. If I worked every other weekend and Christmas fell on the weekend that I worked, we would celebrate it that weekend that I was off. And then they were allowed to go to family and friends and all that on that particular day. And then once I started working weekends and I had all of those holidays off, where all of the holidays fell on a weekday, we did it here at home. So I have, just more often than not, I've gone somewhere else. And number 4 is, well, what did I do? I think I answered these but backwards. What is your Christmas decor style? That's number 2. That's where I went wrong at with these questions. I don't think I have a specific style. I don't know. I just have decorations that I put on the tree. I know a friend of mine one year wanted a white tree with the gold decor. We had a famous bar here then, and they had a white tree with the gold, is it tinsel? And the ornaments were like that snow white glitter on the gold. She would follow a theme like that. And then another friend had a country Christmas where the decorations on the tree, she had one of those trees with the white tips on the needles. They were artificial, but she had like little trucks and things like that on there. So she had a country theme, if that's what that question means. So now let me make sure I get these back into the right order. Number 5, can you name the 7 reindeer? I can pretend like I can, but I cannot. I could cheat. I'm not going to do that. I know that the song, and I never ever got this song right, but I know it had something to do with On Donder, On Blitzen, something Comet Cupid, and whatever rhymed with Blitzen. I don't know. And of course, Rudolph headed it all up. So no, I cannot name the 7 reindeer without some help and without looking it up. How many Christmas trees do you have? I have one. I think the first one I had was like a 4-foot tree when my daughter was real little because she wanted a tree. And what I did at that time was I propped it up on a table, and then I had one of those cloths over it, and then I had gifts and all that around. Then I kept that tree well into her being like 12 or 13 or something like that, but my son was still born. He was born, by the time I had my son that summer, my daughter had turned 11. So let me say that right. She was 11, but by the time he was like 1 or 2 and she was 12 or 13, I still had the same tree, and my friend just bashed me over that. So I got a 6-foot tree after that. And of course, we decorated and everything, but so I've only had 2, but I actually own 1 because I think I gave the other one away. If it wasn't to a church, it was for something. Let's see. Number 7 is, do you decorate outside or inside? We've always lived in an apartment. When I was a kid in the house, we just strung lights on the house. But as far as me, myself, personally, I've only decorated inside, and that is the tree, whatever little decor that I would sit around the table, things like that. I had little pieces that I would sit in certain areas, and I had a hutch and all that. So let's see here. Number 7, gift wrap or gift bags. That's going to be a mix with me, if I'm quite honest. It's going to be both. It's never ever one with me. I start off wanting to do something for a friend, and I will start off, I'm going to make this person a gift bag, or I'm going to make this person a gift basket, and then I find this gorgeous box. I use every arsenal for gift wrap that is available. I use boxes, I use bags, and the reason why, and I'm going to explain this, they have some gorgeous bags that come out depending on where you shop at. And I mean the bags that, when the Chinese boxes were real popular, there were bags that were shaped like purses. There were bags, they were like almost 3D bags, if you'll call it that. And they had words and things like that on them, ho, 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 and Merry Christmas. And it was embossed where you could touch it and move it. Like, that's why I'm saying 3D. I have no idea if that's the correct term. But a lot of times I will start off wanting to wrap something up, and then I add more things, and then I see this gorgeous box or I see this gorgeous bag, and it ends up being put in there. And I go all out whenever I wrap stuff. I'd have to say that the same amount of money that I just about spend on gifts, I spend on wraps. I'm going to show you. It is not unusual, and this is what I happen to have by me, for you to get a gift from me, whether it be in a bag, whether it be in a box. But I take things like this and I put them on the gifts. And this is probably something you'd hang on a tree. But if I found paper, and that's what happened this year. This was something left over from my daughter. I found this beautiful brocade, silver and blue, silky looking paper. And it was that kind with that thick backing. And I had silver stuff like this, and this is that silk rope looking. It looks silk. I don't know really what it is, but I used this in gift giving too. I tied this around the box, and I had a gold one of these, and I had paper that went with it, and I tied this on the box. And then I will take that little stuff that you make the curly ribbon with, and I had different Christmas candies and peppermints, and I will actually take a hole punch and punch within that plastic, and you'll have that tied to the gift. Like, whatever gift I give you, you can just about guarantee there's something on there for you to play with, something on there for you to eat, and something on there for you to keep. So in that regard, I'm going to say both. So since I turned my phone upside down, I got to scroll down here and get to the next question. Okay. The next question is number 9. Do you buy new Christmas decor every year? Mostly with the lights, yes, just because, I mean, we all have lights that go out or whatever. But if I see something new also, yes, if I see something that I think will go with something else, like I have individual pieces as well as Christmas sets, but I don't happen to have a full manger set. We had one in the house when I was growing up, and I've seen beautiful crystal ones. There was a glass blowing place here that had one that was on a tray, and during that time I could only afford one, and I bought it for a friend. But right now, my kids are older, so I don't really decorate like I did. My daughter is a full-fledged adult. She will be 30 in February, and she's now living in another state Don't know if she'll be home or not. But I do a little bit for when they come home. There is a tree, there are gifts, there's things like that. But for the most part, you've already heard my story about how they'd rather have a handful of cash. So I don't even get to buy the beautiful gift cards or anything like that unless they specifically ask for something. They do have some items, like for my son, sweatsuits and shoes. But for the most part, they want to come see mom, they want to eat, and then they want to go out and do whatever it is they're going to do. So I think number 10 would be, do you use a star, angel, or something else as a tree topper? I can show you that too because I happen to have it here with me, and I hope you can see it clearly. But I use this little thing right here. I bought this a long time ago, and the reason why this was important to me, as you can see, it was really, really hard to find decor of color or ethnicity or whatever. And so when I found this, and my daughter was little at the time, she thought this was just the most specialist thing, and she actually stood in front of our tree staring at it. And then my son felt the same way when he saw it. Now, not for the same reasons that I liked it, they just thought it was pretty. And then my son made this when he was in school at 6, and I put it around its neck. But I think I might have gotten this at a hospital. And it's got this open area here where you just put it on top of the tree. And it wasn't on a tree when I found it. They have a huge Christmas tree at the hospital I used to work at. And this stuff was just on the tree, of course, so that we could buy it. And so I had this. And I don't know. I hope that you can see it. But it's like this all the way around. And that's what is on the top of my tree, and it stays there until I manage to find something else. However, I'm not looking for anything else. So number 11 is favorite Christmas carols. I have 3, and I really do. On my phone, I don't know if there's something orchestra. I don't know what they're called though. Something orchestra, and it's called the Christmas Canon. I love that on my phone as a ringtone. However, I don't have any of that on this phone. My other phones, I was able to download certain ringtones for the phone, and I haven't been able to do that on this phone, but I do love Christmas Canon. Traditional wise, when I was a child, I loved Holy Night and Come Ye All Faithful or whatever, but I also loved Holy Night. Now for today, modern day, there is a show called Hour of Power. I believe it's a church program. They had somebody on there named Freddie Revel, and I have been trying to find this song for the longest. It is called Snowfall, and it is a beautiful piano song. I mean, this man does amazing things with the piano. I don't know if you know him, but it's on YouTube. If you type in Hour of Power, and then you look for his song called Snowfall, I think it is just so beautiful. And we decorated our tree to that one year, and for my son, that was special. He likes things that he considers special, because I think he was maybe 15 that year. Yeah, his birthday's in the summertime, so he was 15 that year. And that song came out. I'm going to have to look back and make sure I'm correct, because he's 19 now. But whenever that song was, we decorated the tree, and he loved it. And it was piano, but it also had a little bit of What Child Is This in it. But I love the beginning of that song. I'm telling you, if Snowflakes and Snow Sparkle had a sound, to me, the opening of that song was it. And it was Freddie Revel, Snowfall. He also did a rendition of Little Drummer Boy on the Piano, which are both under that program. I love both of those songs. So let's see here. If I stop moving this phone, I might quit losing stuff. The next question is, favorite holiday movie? That would be Elf. Surprisingly so, considering I can't stand Will Ferrell movies. I did love his version of Bewitched, but for the rest of his movies, I just thought they were silly. I don't know why. My children loved them, but Elf to me was the cutest movie. I bought that for my son, and we watched it over and over. I'm telling you, we watched that like the whole month of January too, because it was so cute. The part where he was so innocent about everything, the part about the man telling him, call me Elf one more time. I mean, that whole movie was just funny. Let's see here. The next question is, if I don't have this out of order, favorite holiday tradition. Okay, I don't know if you'll consider this a tradition or not, but it's something that I did with both my children. I I think I did it, yeah, Christmas Eve night. I would always make a stocking for them. And you've heard me say when I could find the big old-fashioned peppermint stick, I would use that. I would put the standard things in there, an apple, an orange, a banana, right? Apple, orange, and banana. And then I would put some nuts in there because I always buy those fresh nuts that you have to crack at Christmas time, the walnuts, the almonds, the Brazil, and all that. I'd put one of each of those in there. And then I would put their gift cards in there. Sometimes I put a little money in there. There was always also a precursor to their bigger gift. For example, when my son got the Nintendo DS, there was a Nintendo DS game in there, but he was so naive and young, he didn't think he was getting that because he was like, why is this in here? I don't have this. And then for my daughter, it was money and perfume, you know, because she was into, what was she into then? A perfume called Exclamation, little Britney Spears things. And if I got her anything bigger, you know, she had a precursor to her gift as well, which in her case, it was a TV remote. And jewelry, I would always do a stocking, and they never knew. They knew that they were getting one just because I did it every year, but they never saw it. I would bring it out when they were asleep. And I mean when they were really asleep, not when those kids were pretending to be asleep. You know how you know when your kids are asleep and they have that certain breathing pattern and you touch them and they move just a little bit, but you know for a fact they're asleep. That's when I would put it in the bed with them. And I'd also have whatever their favorite candy bar was, whatever the Christmas candy was in the little packages. I favor Almond Roca. They love that Ferrero Rocher. I would put that stocking in the bed with them and they would wake up to that Christmas morning. And of course, I always made a huge Christmas breakfast. And for some reason, I put milk and cheese and butter in my eggs anyway. But during Christmas time, I include a little bit of onion, a little red and green chopped up bell pepper. My son loved that, surprisingly so. When I was a kid, I probably wouldn't have touched that. But he really did love that. He also loved meatloaf. But then I'm going to say I can cook. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean I can cook. So just nothing you would get from me would be diet. If you're on a diet, you don't want to eat nothing I make because it will not be diet. But other than that, that is the only tradition that I had as far as that. That's something that I do that I think, if I'm not mistaken, if they have children or when they have children, they might carry over. Eggnog, yes or no? Last prop. The only eggnog I like is this one. This is Prairie Farms. I don't like custard. Do I know if eggnog and custard are one and the same? I do not know, but if it says custard, I will not touch it. I don't like Culver's custard. I don't like custard, period. But I do like this eggnog. This is the only eggnog that I like. This is Prairie Farms. And here's the kicker. I don't want it spiked. And my children like eggnog too, but they like it the same way I like it, with just a dash of nutmeg. That's all I want. And the reason why I don't like it spiked is I'm going to tell you a small story. It's one of the reasons I stayed on top of my children when they were little. Nobody watched me. I mean, I didn't get into anything fierce, but I was an intelligent enough little kid to know that when the company would come and they would get to talking, they weren't paying no attention to me. So I'd go around tasting stuff, and the eggnog that I tasted was spiked. I did not know then it was called spiked. It had alcohol in it, mostly rum or whiskey. I just knew that it tasted god-awful, and I nearly choked. Nobody was around to see me, to help me, but I nearly choked. And it was why when my kids were little, I watched everything I did, and every drink that I set down